Welcome to the Crewcast, the Crew's live podcast about video games and all things Crew. Join us and many of your favorite crew members as we review games, talk about the new Crew series, answer your questions, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Crewcast.
Welcome to the Crewcast number 4 on the 11th of May 2013. Today with us we have Belboz, Piper Bunny, Gizmo, Mario and me, Danny. First on the list is Gamer News.
Alright, our first gaming news segment. Now this is an Ars Technica link that I'll put in the show notes, but they're basically reporting that the Xbox will not be always online, and that we'll talk about that. But then another subject too is they're mentioning that the Xbox might have an HDMI in besides an HDMI out. But let's talk about the always online, because that was a issue in one of our earlier podcasts that people were worried that it was going to be always online. Turns out we were all worried for nothing.
I don't know if I believe it yet.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice once we actually see the specs. And I mean, we're only a few more weeks away from E3 when they're going to talk about all this. So we'll definitely cover a lot of E3 stuff on the next, in 2 or 3 weeks on the podcast. Did anyone really think does anyone really think that it might be always online?
I'd hope not. That would be just terrible.
I have a feeling they could do it, but I'm still not sure if they would do it or not, because it seems to have made a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a feeling that... Go ahead, Mario.
I thought they just said that it wasn't always going to have to be online. So why would they have lied? What?
Well, companies lie sometimes. I don't know.
Well, this all started from that one guy who got let go or quit on his own, who tweeted, kind of affirming the always online. Microsoft kind of stated, hey, this guy doesn't really speak for Xbox or for us. And of course, the guy left Microsoft. But a lot of the reports at that point, Microsoft would not confirm or deny the always online. Ars Technica is now reporting that Microsoft's saying that it won't be. And I think that my thought is that maybe they were entertaining the idea, but they've seen all the backlash. So if they even thought about making it always online, I think that all the stuff that's gone on with all the issues with Diablo 3, with Sims, all these recent games that have come out with always on issues at first, I think that if they were thinking, they've changed their mind. And I think it's a smart move. I mean, I think in the earlier podcast we talked about this. I kind of said I don't think that they'll do it. I think it'd be crazy. I mean, Sony would eat them for lunch at that point. But another interesting thing, they're talking about having an HDMI in on the Xbox. Now, what I find interesting about that, in a sense, what this is going to have you do is you could plug your cable box that you get, your HD channels from into the Xbox, and then plug your Xbox into the TV. Now your Xbox has the ability to show TV channels and also superimpose the Xbox interface on it. So people are speculating that this is so that the Xbox can control cable boxes to let you watch TV through the Xbox and bring in other content. Microsoft exclusive TV shows like MSN. Is what was that one show? I think Giz, you were talking about a show, wasn't it? MSN, Xbox, Microsoft, that was going to be redoing some show.
Heroes, I think.
Yeah, so I don't think it was confirmed, but they're trying possibly. That would be exclusive content. Piper, you remember Felicia Day's? What's her show? With
the Guild.
Guys, yeah, the Guild. That's always been an exclusive on Xbox and MSN first. So you can watch it through that. In fact, Piper, you'll be able to do that when they do the new season. Watch it on your Xbox. All right, next segment. EA. the lovely EA, remember our first podcast, most hated company in America.
Next to
is now-
KFC.
No, you're the KFC hater. KFC, if you want to sponsor us, I'm all for it. We'll just kick Gizmo out. Colonel, send your money to us. EA is taking over the publishing of the Star Wars games. So, what do you guys think of this?
Boo.
Well, it depends what they're going to do with it. Maybe the game that they actually bring out is a good game. We don't know yet.
Taken
They're
over
good
by the dark
studios.
side.
They're good studios.
Right,
though.
all I want is Battlefront 3. If they do a good Battlefront 3, I will be happy.
There is good studios there, though, that produce games, so it could be a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've already done a lot of good games.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the on StarWars.com, the actual press release for this, they say, as part of the agreement, EA studio teams DICE, who make the Battlefield series, which most people really respect the Battlefield series as being a good series, and we can hit on that in a minute. Visceral, who does Dead Space, yet another good series, and BioWare, who make Mass Effect and the Knights of the Old Republic, which is already a Star Wars game. They're all going to be the ones developing these games. I don't think it's a bad thing because we're going to get good games from good developers. I think my only concern with EA is, are we going to get Star Wars games where they'll say, if you want to dual wield lightsabers, that costs extra. We'll have a microtransaction or DLC content right from day one to give you stuff. I think that's the kind of stuff EA will do.
They did that
As long as
with.
they don't go, this is your game, and in 3 months' time we're going to release another bit of the game, and then 3 months' time, we've got another bit of the game to give to you.
Well, no,
Give us your money.
that's not as bad as like day one DLC, where it's like, oh yeah, here's the game, but if you buy this now, you get all these lightsabers. You get a green lightsaber, you get a yellow lightsaber. Like, it's give us the game, and then DLC will pay for later on.
It's like with Battlefield
It's what-
with pay to win. That was terrible. You could buy all the guns like ahead of time, and you wouldn't have to unlock them all.
So this isn't a huge change. It's just the fact that LucasArts is not publishing it because LucasArts has been disbanded. They're gone.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on since our news segments are causing lots of discussion. Sony has, as reported by IGN, Sony has said they're not going to take a loss on the PS4. So for those of you who aren't following this or don't understand, generally when a new console comes out, be it the PS3 when it came out or the Xbox, they usually sell it. You have to sell it at a pretty competitive price or people won't buy it. So if they're selling an Xbox 360, I forget what the price was when that thing first came out. Let's just say it was $300 US. It might cost Microsoft $350 to make it. So they're losing $50, say. So they're taking a loss on the hardware, but they know you're going to buy games and buy online games and marketplace stuff. And that's where they're going to make their money. Generally, that's always the case with most of these consoles. I think Nintendo is one of the few companies that says that they do make a profit. But now Sony says, PS4, they're not going to take a loss on it.
Why not?
You think one of the reasons is maybe it's not PS3 compatible?
Oh.
Possibly.
That may be a huge reason because generally when they make backwards compatibility built in, which Sony has tried to do in previous revisions, I think the PS3 Slim doesn't do PS2, but the PS3 will do PS2. But they have to build in hardware to be able to do that. Maybe they've kept that out and that's keeping the price down. Xbox and Xbox 360 work differently. The 360 has totally different hardware. The Xbox was more PC x86 hardware. The 360 is actually Power PC, kind of like Macintosh, the OS X, before Apple switched to Intel also. Because the first development systems for the Mac, or for the 360 were Power Macs, G5s. But when they came out with the 360, it played old games, but they actually had to build emulation. That's why you always had to look and see, will the 360 play this Xbox game? Many of them it can't. What they did is they put in emulation for all the popular games, all the ones that they know, like Halo. The first Halo was an Xbox title, not a 360 title. So when you play Halo on your 360, the first Halo, you're playing it with emulation. It works great, but they don't do it for all the games. I have some old Xbox games that I can't play on the 360. But not a huge story, but interesting that Sony's saying that they're going to not take a loss initially. So it'll be interesting to see if Sony wins the next battle here when it comes to Sony versus whatever the next Xbox is called.
Xbox Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, Sony may not be able to do that. EA, if they made a console, maybe could come out with that name. All right, last news segment. World of Warcraft has lost 1.3 million players, as reported again by IGN.
That's a lot.
It's been out for a while, hasn't it? Like, you can't expect people to play forever.
Don't they keep releasing new things for it though?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't play it, and I don't really ever want to play it, because if I start playing it, I probably will love it and just play it non-stop.
I'm the same.
But for the people who've probably played it for a while now, there's loads of other games out there, so.
Well, for some people, this becomes a life, playing these games. I mean, you hear of many people who are hooked on this game, and it disrupts their family, and it disrupts the real world for them. But I mean, there's a lot of people into it. Just to give some numbers on this story, they lost 1.3 million subscribers, so they're down to 8 million overall. At one point, they had 10 million users around the time of Mists of Pandaria, which was the most recent release, and they had a peak of 12 million back in 2010.
Oh, I wonder what happened in 2010 for that to happen.
It'll probably go back up.
I think it'll keep going down.
It'll go in waves though, won't it, depending on what they release when they release it.
I mean, they're going to keep the hardcore players, and they're going to always be attracting new players and losing some veterans that aren't hardcore. But I mean, it's like crack cocaine to people when they start playing it. I've never played it. I've never had any inkling to. I do like role-playing games. I'm just not a big fan of subscription models. I don't like having to pay a monthly fee to play one game. All right, so now we're moving on to crew news. So, Piper, I think you had the first one, didn't you?
Yes, I'm a bit confused actually, because what are people doing watching this? We are live streaming right now for Chairty. Go onto our live stream. It is twitch.tv/Minecraft Crew and watch us. And we're having loads of fun. So what are you doing listening to this? Seriously, what's going on, Buzz?
I don't know. Now, just to make sure, if you're watching this as it airs, we're live streaming. If you're watching this after 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, the 11th, we are done. So relax. You're not missing anything. You can go to our Twitch TV page if you want and look at past highlights and videos and see all the stuff that went on during the live stream. Some of the stuff we will put over onto our YouTube channel, depending on if we think something worked out well. But just so those who don't know, we're doing a live stream May 10th through 11th, 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's for the Child's Play charity. So we're trying to earn money. Our goal is $500. I think we've already had $100 or a little bit more donated already by fans. So I think we can hit the 500. Maybe we'll get lucky and go on past it. Maybe 1,000's possible. Who knows?
I'm calling it 2,000.
You got 1,900 on you in case we don't get any more than we have now?
Sure, let me just go to the bank.
And speaking of Giz has our next segment.
So we've set up a build contest museum world where you guys can come in and check out the past build contests that we've done. There are some worlds missing, so unfortunately, hopefully those files turn up. But there are quite a lot of areas you can check out. There's a warp to all the areas, so come and check out the world. And I will give tours out sometimes, not all the time.
Gizmo's the curator.
So come and check it out.
Also, just to make one little note too, is the next build contest we do. Actually, right now the mansion is wrapped up, so you'll be seeing a video shortly with the results of mansion. But people have been able to go on to the museum world and look at all the mansions that were built, try those buttons, see if there's secret rooms and all that stuff. So for all future build contests, you're going to be able to go onto this world during the voting period and actually look at them, fly around them, explore them, see all there is, and then make a better educated decision on which one you want to vote for. So we think that'll be really cool.
Definitely.
Okay, Danny, you have a Moonvale update for us.
So an update with Moonvale is we've been working a lot on plugins and testing a lot of stuff, getting some of the bugs fixed and adding new things, seeing what works. But everything's looking good so far, and we hope to get it done soon. So just keep an eye out and see what comes in the future.
All right, and our last crew news segment, I think Piper and Giz are going to go over this one, but it was kind of something that one of our fans did on the forum.
So we got a special poem sent in to us by Octavius_Layton, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he sent in I think it's a guy, he sent in a poem to us, and Piper's going to read it out.
The Minecraft Crew. Lizzie the Pyromaniac with her TNT, great and powerful Buzz, and his pet Tapey. Time Lord Gizmo and his companion D. The kind, but kind of pushy Piper Bunny. Pharaoh Kama, Turtle King, and don't forget Alicia, who loves to sing. A flower-loving penguin, whose name is Abby. Next up is the youngest, Iron Man RD. The Professor of Smiles, extra fun, and the super strong Duffman who can lift a ton. Sarah the Sweet, who is super nice. If you want to outsmart Paige, you better think twice. Russ, who is famous for screams and his gasp. Mario, the only hero who doesn't hide behind a mask. All of the crew, one big family, and together they founded a Minecraft legacy.
Ah,
very nice.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. That was a really sweet poem. It was lovely.
Yes, very nice job, Octavius. If we were in a bar listening to people read that, we'd all be doing the old hippie thing, snapping our fingers afterwards. All right, well, that wraps up the crew news. Now we're on to our hot subject here, the main segment. This could normally be reviews of games, TV shows, movies, previews of games, but this is a hot topic, and I feel that we probably have a few crew members who are going to really have some ideas on this. But it's basically a little roundtable discussion on what do you think of how women are portrayed in video games, and is it sexist? So, Piper, I think you're going to probably be the logical person to start this.
Well, to get like a balanced point of view, I think women are portrayed in video games, in some cases well, but my personal opinion is that we're not, and the fact that we're even talking about this in the 21st century, because in the real world, women are equal and we're treated equal. We've got, we can go for the same jobs as men. We get paid almost the same, I think, in most countries. But in video games, we're quite underrepresented. I can't even talk. But it's just not equal, I don't feel.
Example,
Princess Peach. She is always the damsel in distress and nobody comes to save her, and the main idea is Mario's got to do it and he travels along and blah blah blah. And then you've got Lara Croft, who, in my opinion, she is quite a strong female character in video games, but yet she's wearing a t-shirt and very short shorts and her boobs are like out here. And if you can see my hands, they're almost hitting my screen.
Let's go back to Princess Peach, right? Princess Peach. What's the key word there, Mario?
princess.
Princess, thank you. She's a princess, right? And not all the time. Sometimes, like the fighting games, you can play as her. In some of the party games, you can play as her. In the main storyline, yeah, okay, but that's what the storyline is. I do agree that maybe, okay, it might be cool to have like a female thing, but that's what the story of Mario is. Mario is a story of saving Princess Peach. She's a princess. In the medieval times, that's what it was. You saved the princess.
That's true.
Well, I think, for me, I think many games are quite sexist in one thing. Generally, female characters in games are very scantily clad, and the counterpart male characters are not. Look at some of the RPGs that are out there. Men will be wearing full suits of armor. Girls will be wearing like armor that's like a bikini, and it's just not. It's not realistic. Now, in the defense of Tomb Raider has been a game that portrays Lara Croft as a sex object. With the large breasts and the tight, short shorts. The newest version has kind of got away from that and has made her more realistic, and added, really trying to move it forward. So I think the newest Tomb Raider, if you checked it out, and you've seen some, I know, video clips of it, I think you'd see that at least they're trying to improve that somewhat. And it seems like it's been pretty well respected. But I mean, the sad fact is, most games that are made are written by males. I mean, women, there are some women programmers, but there's not a lot. Now, that doesn't justify it, but a lot of these guys that are doing these games are doing the artwork. They're males, they're young, and I don't want to generalize too much, but this is just what they do, and I don't think it makes sense. Now, a game like Grand Theft Auto, generally the females you see in the game that are dressed like prostitutes are prostitutes, so that's okay. There are females that walk around in the Grand Theft Auto world that are dressed normally, that aren't the prostitute characters. But I mean, it is bad. I mean, there are a lot of girl gamers now, more and more and more. I mean, Lizzie's a gamer, loves playing games, and there's so many kids, and more girls are playing games, and it's not considered taboo anymore.
I mean, you see that in our community. We've got so many people in Mumble who are female. Yeah, I was quite surprised actually. It's lovely to see.
I just think it's some of it's a guy thing. I mean, there's websites that actually catalog mods to almost every game you can think of to make the female characters naked, to make the female characters dressed sexy.
And there's idiots like Gizmo Laughing who
but
do
see, the thing is though, sex sells a lot sometimes. Like, look in magazines and stuff, you got all these things like magazines, like, oh, look at me, my model and stuff. Like, that's just part of human nature, that it sells. That's what companies latch onto sometimes as well.
Well,
so I'm not saying
no, I know, but let me finish. I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just saying that might be a reason why. But like, on the flip side as well, you have female characters like Zelda. Like, she hasn't got big boobs. She can handle herself well. She was a pirate at one point. She dressed up as a boy to hide herself one time and fought off the bad guys.
Oh, female so we have to dress up as men to fight off bad guys? Is that what you're saying?
Female shepherd? Female shepherd?
I'm sorry. Impa from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. She was protecting young Zelda. She was a female. She got killed though, and then Zelda became Sheikah. I believe Sheikah was pretending to be a male. That doesn't mean she couldn't pretend to be a female. It just was chosen that she chose to become a male in the sense to hide her identity more from Link in the first game.
Well, when I first brought this up,
game of it.
Then
and the other ones, isn't it?
Then
Link tries to find her and save her, and there we go, damsel in distress again.
Wind Waker, she's a pirate.
Okay, another episode.
Twilight
How many
Princess.
episodes of have there been?
Also, she has the name in the title. Like, you play as Link, but it's The Legend of Zelda. The female has her name in the title.
And how much does Zelda feature in all the episodes?
But you don't play as Zelda. But it's the story of Zelda. There's loads of different Zeldas and loads of different Links. That's the storyline. But
Thinking about
you have to bear in mind as well, like, yes, okay, you're saying, oh no, like, females are being shown bad, but sometimes, like, But males need to be shown strong as well. I do agree that more female games need to be out there where females are the lead, but you can't like downtrodden. Oh no, males can't be shown as the heroes. But like males can be heroes as well. Males and females can both be heroes.
Okay, well let's take Killing Floor then. Should be an equal game, like men and women. You know, zombie apocalypse or specimen apocalypse or whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, Ash, the female character, is absolutely amazing. I mean, if you zoom in on her hand, she's got pink nail varnish, she wears clothes, she can fight those specimens, but we had to pay for her.
But when they made,
I was completely behind you in that one. I was arguing the fact that she should already be in there.
But when they made Killing Floor, like before they added her, they weren't thinking, "Oh, we hate women, let's not include them." They just didn't add them.
But at least they could think, "Ooh, we like women. Let's, treat everybody equally and add them."
Well, that's not even true. They thought female because they put a female traitor in the game.
That's true.
And that female traitor says a lot of sexual innuendos throughout the game to you.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it to be sexist.
Then why did they have a female character saying all these sexual innuendos
because
to men?
Sex sells.
Sex doesn't sell this game.
Why are we even talking about this? Because women are equal in, real life, and it's
but
games where it's just
it could
terrible.
be a male doing it to females.
Also,
let's look at Armor then. Armor is a realistic video game about the army in
Warfare,
most
basically.
countries now. Sorry?
I was just saying, like, warfare.
Yeah. Women in most countries have roles in the army, whether it's frontline, whether it's not frontline, and I don't want to get too political in this, saying that they should or they shouldn't be, but, there's no female character in Armor except from when you have a mod, and even when you've got the mod, everybody else you play with has to have this mod, and it's just not fair.
Yeah,
I want to be represented in a game which is realistic, using quotation marks.
There should be equal things, but like if you're dissing on a sex joke, like I find those things funny. I find those hilarious. What the trader was saying.
Well, I think as a parent, I don't want my daughter to think that the only female character in a game, the only thing she does is make sexual innuendos to male characters. So, I mean,
I'd be quite... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, people Lizzie's age, it would be quite interesting to hear what some of our community think as well about what they see in video games, if you want to write comments below. Like, does it affect you at all? Like, seeing these women not wearing any clothes, fighting in armor that's only covering certain parts of their bodies and not other parts, and I'd be quite interested to read your comments, so do comment below.
And I'm going to give my closing thoughts on this. It doesn't mean we don't have to continue the subject, but there's a lot of topics on this that we've talked about. We've talked about characters being the victim as female and not male. I don't have a strong opinion about, as Piper say, for like Zelda happen to be a certain way that, they have to make another version, say, of the game where Zelda is a strong character. I mean, I don't have a problem per se with that. I mean, because there's games like Tomb Raider where the female is strong. A huge game in Nintendo's history was Metroid, where at one point it was revealed that the main character you played is female and has continued to be female throughout the series. So I think, I'm not a stickler on that. What I just don't like seeing is when the games portray the females as bimbos. They dress them like a bimbo. They make them act like a bimbo. They make them act stupid. And I literally despise, like on the Arma forums, when people were suggesting a female skin for females to play the game, where men or boys said, this is a men's game, girls should not be playing it, get back to the kitchen, and then making sexual references and just jokes and insulting women. Those are the people that I think should be taken outside and taught a lesson. I just think guys who act like that are idiots, and they shouldn't act like that. But I don't like, and like I said, I don't like games portraying women as bimbos. I mean, if it's Grand Theft Auto and it is a prostitute and she's dressed like a prostitute, that's fine. But in fantasy role-playing games, you don't have to dress the characters up in scantily clad armor because that wouldn't be realistic. whereas the guys are wearing full iron suits like a knight might wear. Not realistic. I think games should be done like that. I originally was bringing up the point, and you guys took it on a different segue, where there's all these sites that have the hacks to make characters nude or whatever. My point was just, I think that's just a bunch of, boys that are doing those type of hacks. But at least those are hacks. They're not part of the real game. The real game doesn't do that. And the real game should come out treating women with some respect. Women are gamers, and women are not objects. And a lot of guys think of them that way, and a lot of games treat them that way. And I don't think that's right. But I think guys can be strong characters in games like Legend of Zelda, and girls can be strong characters in games like Metroid, like Tomb Raider.
I would also like to add as well, there is lots of discussion on the internet at the moment about women in video games, and especially the whole damsel in distress stuff. One video to watch would be Feminist Frequency. The girl there, I forget her name now, goes into a lot of depth, looking at lots of different games, and just showing that gaming can be quite sexist sometimes.
And let's not forget also, we live in worlds, in countries where women are treated much better. Now, granted, the sexist part of games is one thing, but there's still a lot of countries and a lot of religions that women have no rights. And even in countries like the U.S. and U.K. and other countries, there are a lot of women who are sold into slavery, sex slavery, or whatever it may be. It happens even in first world countries.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of third world countries where women have no rights, have no respect for them. And in this time of age of 21st century, it's just really sad. All right, let's move on. All right, next up we have our deals of the week. Now we have a few things on here, and as always, go to the description of the video or look in the, if you're looking through this with a podcast program, look at the show notes. They should all be in there. One is Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which I'm sure Danny will give a thumbs up to. It's free on Steam right now through the weekend. And it doesn't mean you get to keep it, but basically through Sunday, you can install it and play it for free and see if you like it. Maybe if you really got a lot of time, you'll knock the whole game out. Who knows? Except for like online play. But then on Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever it is, it's disabled. So you'd have to buy it at that point. But it gives you a chance to play it.
Don't spend all your time playing it. You have to watch our charity live stream.
Oh god. So is this going to be on the stream? Oh my god, I'm going to play this. I didn't realise.
No, we're not playing this on the stream. We're playing Black Ops on the Xbox. Depending on how it works out. So anyway, there's that. There's also Trials Evolution, which I think, Danny, you're a fan of this. You're playing on the Xbox, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm playing that on Xbox.
Right now, it's 25% off on Steam. Now, your price will vary depending on what country you're from, so I'm not going to worry about pricing. But it's 25% off. Not a huge deal, but if it's a game that you're wanting to play, it's a great game. I think Hat Films does videos on it. A lot of people do.
Yep.
25% off. If you almost had enough money, maybe now's the chance.
That is 2 games as well, because you get Trials HD as well, with Trials Evolution on the PC.
Cool. Now, another one is Amazon has Sleeping Dogs for $10 US. It goes through Saturday night, so the day this podcast airs, you'll have until 11:49 Pacific. So that is like 1 or almost 2 in the morning for me on the East Coast, and that would be 7 in the morning roughly in the UK. So decent amount of time if you're looking for Sleeping Dogs. Very fun game. And then lastly, here's a huge game. Elder Scrolls V, Gamersgate has it for $14.95. Which is a really good price. If you don't have Elder Scrolls V, Gamersgate, $14.95. I don't know for sure how long this deal lasts. There's a chance this might end when this podcast airs. I can't find out any information on their website to say. Hopefully it lasts for a week. But if you're interested, check it out. All right, last and not least, we have your questions. So, our first question comes from Zoe Thomas. And I'm assuming this is a guy, but it could be a girl, so I'm not sure. But he or she says, I know this is a pretty frequent question, but will you guys ever carry out the request of getting on face cams? I'm not saying that to sound mean or complain, but I want to see what the crew looks like. Please consider my question and get some face cams.
Personally, I'm not a fan of face camming, but we have got Facebook, we have got Twitter. Things do go on there. Might see our faces on there. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few crew who have showed their faces on Facebook. I have my picture of me on my Twitter, and you can click on it, and it zooms in a little bit. But we've talked about this, and I'm not a big fan of videos on YouTube that show the picture in the corner. I understand why streamers do it.
Yeah.
People like that somewhat. Some streamers don't do it. Some do. I don't want to do it if it. I wouldn't want to do it if it ever interrupts the game and takes up like real estate that the viewer should see. So we might do some of that eventually at some point. But we've also talked about Minecon this year. If we go to Minecon, and which we're really going to try to push for, especially since for me at least it's in the States, but we're really going to try to have a few crew there. We will do some camera stuff showing the crew together, do a few recordings, and do some face stuff on that. So that will definitely happen. But it's not something we're against doing. I mean, there might be a few crew who maybe wouldn't want to do it. And if it's any of you guys, you can speak up if you wish. But I'm not against doing it.
I find the whole facecam thing kind of annoying. I get it when it's kind of scary games when you want to see people's reactions, but then so many people have now done it, it kind of got a bit stale and a bit boring. I kind of don't see the point in having the camera things. It kind of distracts from the gameplay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have a problem with if Giz wants to do a face cam and wear some sexy little negligee.
Gizmo is very pretty.
Gizmo would probably do it for the channel.
Like
just a fez?
Yes, and a bow tie.
No, okay, no, that's fine. All right, let's move on.
Moving on.
All right, next we have a video question from a mysterious person named Rex. So let's listen.
Hello, I'm Rex. I have a question. First off, I want to apologize for the way I look, and secondly, my question is, why don't you do as many like games and stuff with the fans as often, or more often than not? I just want you to know why you don't do so many games with the fans.
All right, so the question asked very scarily by Rex, kind of a frightening guy. Why don't we play more games with the fans?
I think we play a lot of games with the fans. We've got our open server, which is open 24 hours a day. We go on there and play. We do other open servers. We have Mumble for them.
And we have to like record things as well and do our own thing in our own time as well. But
and work and see family.
Yeah. But like out of a lot of YouTubers, we are quite high up there in the amount of time we spend with the viewers.
Actually, I don't know any other YouTuber that has more than what we do, really.
All right. Next, another video question from a longtime crew fan, I think, Andrew Franklin. And he asks,
Hey crew, it's Andrew Franklin. My question is, in Minecraft, what item do you think is the most pointless and that you would get rid of? Thank you. Bye.
So he wants to know, what will we get rid of? If we could get rid of something in Minecraft, what would we get rid of?
Mushroom.
Right, I'm going to stop both.
I'm joking.
All right, so let's start. Mario, I know what you said, but let's make sure it's more clear.
Brown mushrooms.
Why?
Because you can just have the mushroom soup thing with red ones. The brown one, you don't need
Yeah,
to discuss. You don't need the disgusting brown mushrooms in it.
It's
It
just
just ruins
two
it.
different colours. What's wrong with that?
Oh, they're disgusting.
Being mushroomist, Mario.
All right, Danny.
I don't know. I really don't know what I'd get rid of, because... Might have to come back to me. I need to think.
Okay. Piper.
I was joking about the horses, by the way. I would get rid of the new gravel texture and bring back the old one.
I'm kind of used to that one now.
Yeah, me too. But,
I-
you know, sometimes when you're in a dark cave and you see it ahead of you, like some kind of different stone, and you're like, oh, it's a spawner, and you get closer to it, and it's that
I have
new gravel
never-
texture.
I have never had that experience in my life.
I have.
All right, Giz.
But yeah,
what
that
would you
would
get
be
rid
mine.
of?
Well, I'm very big on adding things to Minecraft, so I don't really know anything I want to get rid of. Nothing really comes to mind like that I hate. I guess maybe downgrade the skeletons shooting at you, because I find they always hit me and I always die.
They got tough recently.
Yeah, so maybe like downgrade them shooting.
Okay. Danny, have you got anything yet?
I would get rid of the sponge, because there's no point to it. It's not in a vanilla game. You can use creative to use it. It's pointless.
No, you can make SpongeBob statues with it.
But you can't get it in vanilla, like in survival.
So why should you get rid of it though? Like, it's a cute
Because it's
museum
pointless.
piece. It stops water.
In creative.
Yes, in creative. It's another thing you can use to build when building things. Plus, it's a sponge.
Well, it's Danny's opinion. I don't think I've ever really seen a sponge used by us since the first world we had where people were putting it in to make a pool or something.
that is true.
I do have to agree with Danny.
But
I am going to pick something totally different. I think this is it's useless because it already exists in a different form. I think they should get rid of charcoal.
Yes!
Yep.
Oh god, why did I not pick that?
But
charcoal.
But you could make torches when you don't have coal.
Yeah, I find charcoal
but the
quite
whole
handy
point is
sometimes.
you find coal, though.
But
I
Do
think
you
you should have to
remember?
find coal.
I
Yeah,
think
back in Alpha when you were like, oh, it's getting dark, I've not found coal, and it just adds something to it. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, but that's when you first play Minecraft. After you played it for a while, it's not scary at night. And you're just sitting there for 10 minutes thinking, oh, when's it going to be day so I can do something? If you don't have any
Mario,
torch. Yes.
it's always scary at night.
I just think it's easy enough to find when you've played the game. It's easy enough to get real coal that you don't need charcoal. And people who are new don't even know about charcoal. They only know about coal. So I just think it's very rarely used. And to me, I'd rather go for coal because I think it makes the game more interesting. It's just too easy to get charcoal right off the bat.
I actually use charcoal quite a lot.
Lol.
Well, that's because I am a hardcore Minecraft player. You are softcore.
Well, it's in the game. So I
No,
use it.
it's taken out. It's taken out of my version. I have my opinion. It should be taken out. That's what Andrew asked. I have delivered.
I would take Andrew out of Minecraft.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
Moving on.
All right, last question. This is going to be a long episode. It's going to be over an hour. I know there was somebody complaining about these podcasts being too long, and then people were like, it's a podcast. They're
We
supposed
have
to
a
be
lot
long.
to say.
But our last question before we wrap is from Lord Marvel 115. There was already 114 other Lord Marvels.
Wow.
Why do you use Bumble, not Skype or TeamSpeak? Also, can you expand the Chaos server because it's very small in one direction? Well, to address Chaos, when you spawn in at Chaos at spawn, the world is like, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 blocks in a circular radius. So it's the same in all directions from spawn. But Chaos will be disappearing in the next week or two to start making way for Moonvale. So shouldn't be much of an issue at this point. Now, Mumble versus Skype and TeamSpeak. The reason we don't use Skype, very simple. It's just not good for groups of people. You can here's what would happen in a typical Skype session. We'd be playing, I'd be like, hey, Piper, we're getting ready to go down and get some coal because we don't like charcoal. And Mario gets disconnected from Skype. I'll send him back an invite so he can get back in. Then we have to get Mario back into our Skype conversation. We have to stop to try to get him back in. With Mumble or TeamSpeak, he can just rejoin the channel while we're playing. We can also have sub-channels. So when we play games like Stop the Boom or Don't Be Last, well, not really Don't Be Last, but Capture the Flag or the game of Craft, we like to have different teams. Well, each team can be in a separate channel, like red and blue, and when we're done, they can come right back. It's very easy to have groups of people come in and going and have sub-channels. So that's why we don't use Skype. Skype might actually have a little bit better quality, but actually Mumble has added the codec from Skype to Mumble. Now, TeamSpeak. The reason we don't use TeamSpeak. TeamSpeak and Mumble are very equivalent programs, but TeamSpeak is a commercial program. If you run a TeamSpeak server and it's on a profit, like a company type thing, you have to pay for TeamSpeak. And you also have to pay for how many seats you want. You'll see a lot of streamers will have their own TeamSpeaks, but since they don't really make a lot of money streaming, they have like 5 or 10 user TeamSpeak servers. And they won't let their fans come on because they'd have to buy a 100-slot TeamSpeak server, which can cost a decent amount of money every year. You have to pay yearly for a TeamSpeak server. Now, if you're just a normal player just wanting to play with your buddies, you can use TeamSpeak for free and use the smaller version TeamSpeak servers. But, we actually are a channel that has ads. We do make some income. We can't legally use TeamSpeak unless we buy it. Mumble is free, works just as good, and we can have as many users as we want. That's why we have a separate Mumble server for the fans. So we have that Mumble server. We have our own private Mumble server. It just works better that way. All right, well, that wraps up our 4th episode of the Crewcast. So if you guys want to say goodbye, we will head out before Piper has to kill Gizmo.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Marina.
Lol.
Nobody's gonna get that.
Thanks for watching the Crewcast. We hope you tune in again next time. Compass.